Hello there, and welcome to Andre's Artist Profiles. Today I'm going to be profiling one artist whose birthday I somehow overlooked yesterday. There's been a lot of things going on in my life. And that's especially unfortunate in this particular case because this artist actually just died about 6 months ago at the age of 71 from liver disease. And that is Lou Reed. Considering his personal life, I'm not surprised about how he died. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised he lived as long as he did. But, Lou Reed always showed signs of eclecticism musically and great endurance, and that's what I'm celebrating today, considering the various difficulties that he faced in his life. And thankfully, his last years were a happy one, married to the avant-garde musician artist Laurie Anderson. Anyhow, Lou Reed has a vast number of albums, actually far more than he had with the group that made him famous, the Velvet Underground. But I'm not covering the Velvet Underground today. I'm just covering Lou Reed's solo career, or what I have of it. And of course, the earliest album I have by him is his debut, not debut, sorry. I woke up a little too early this morning. I believe it's his second or third album, Transformer. And of course, this has his two most famous songs, Satellite of Love and Walk on the Wild Side, which was actually banned in America for some time due to lyrics about transgenderism. But it's a hugely innovative song, and I really like this album. David Bowie plays sax on it and writes a number of songs. They were both very heavily involved with each other. This really typified the New York glam rock sound of the day, and so many artists, especially in the 90s up to today, have based this as kind of their Sgt. Pepper album in a way. This is not a reissue or anything, it's just the old RCA CD, so that's no big deal. The next album I have by Lou Reed is Berlin. It's a more atmospheric album that didn't really get a lot of good recognition in its day, especially since Lou Reed called the album Berlin without really having been there. A little darker in tone, but, Lou Reed could be a little bit dark at times. But not a bad album through and through. Haven't listened to it in a while. The next album is Sally Can't Dance. Not a bad album, a little more of an upbeat rock flavor on this from 1974. This is the bonus edition. Actually has a couple bonus tracks on it, including a song that isn't on the album called Good Taste. Not a bad album. Really underrated, I think. And one of his more commercially successful, from what I understand. The next album that I have by him was from 1976, I believe, and it's called Coney Island Baby. This album has a lot of bonus tracks. As a matter of fact, it has 6 of them, which is almost how long the album is. So they really fill this reissue out really well. There's Lou Reed right there. The next album I have is, I think, kind of a rarity these days. It's called, sorry about that, The Bells, and this came out in 1979 originally. Kind of a groove rock sort of album with some jazz influences, actually. The next album I have by him is The Blue Mask, which came out in 1982. This features the work of former Jan Hammer bassist Fernando Saunders, which was a huge reason for me picking this up. And as for another Lou Reed rarity, the most recent album I have by him is 1986's Mistrial. This was a part of a foray of his into the kind of new sound of the 80s, but kind of done Lou Reed style. Fernando Saunders, again, involved in that album. So that's what I have for Lou Reed, and I wanted to pay a special tribute and give a shout out, if she by some chance sees this, to Laurie Anderson. I hope she's holding up well. And as for the rest of you, I will see you next time.